Alright, countdown is done. Let's do it to it. Maru versus Dark TVZ on Port Alexander. They both have cemented their positions. So they know how much money they're getting. They know what's on the line. And yet they both are still going to have to play each other. Yeah, most people thought this would be the match for first. But it's not. Is he really not going to send an SCV out? Really? This is the match you don't proxy your axe? Alright, I'm fine with that. Might mean we have a longer than 9-minute game. In the top left is the blue Terran. It is Maru. Hello. Hi, Maynard. In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, it is Dark. Maru finally going to showcase his top-tier macro play. When it matters the least. Proxy battle cruisers. I guess. I don't know. They have to be... I know people are throwing out the ideas and they're doing meme builds and having fun, and... I'm not gonna lie. There probably will be less... you know, top-tier play here. But... they have to be careful not to be, like, really silly. There's still a... well, actually, don't quote me on this, but since the days long ago... when people tried out round robin in groups and whatnot, and there ended up being a match where it didn't actually matter. Naniwa, right? I'm pretty sure that a lot of tournaments have added like sportsmanship clauses in their contracts. When you sign up for a tournament, you are bound by rules. And one of them being, don't be unsportsmanlike. And, you know, pulling the SCVs, agreeing to pull the SCVs, agreeing to do an ARAM, agreeing to do whatever casual version there is in CSGO is typically frowned upon. So if Maru were to 2-rack twice in a row, you couldn't really say anything against him. It's what he does usually, but you know, this game is going to go for maybe like a Hellbat attack. And normal TVZ. Dark did scout, as expected, for proxy racks and saw that there weren't any. And then he puts his Overlord back in a position that would scout if there were SCVs coming up the ramp in case he missed a proxy scout that just, you know, maybe the barracks were up here or something like that. And now going into that third base. We're setting up for it anyways. It'd still be pretty cool for Maru to take down Dark. So prove that he's pretty damn good at this game. Laying Scout in the back as the Reaper does absolutely no damage. Scout's the third base as it is taken. Most of players not letting that Reaper buy too much time anymore. Sometimes it happens, but not very often anymore. Starport is going to be scouted eventually by the Overlord if it wants to. Dark could just defend somewhat to all the options, all the things. But there's no reason for him not to scout. There's no Marine. There's no Viking yet. This is a map where you can kind of easily get the dip in and dip out and still be alive. Transferring over to that tech lab, it is going to be a follow-up with Banshees. Hellions are out and being aggressive. A couple Lings go to the north side. Only 4 of them, but still enough. You know, it's still annoying enough. SCVs could go down. Well, SCV could go down if the second pair of Hellions are aggressive. But this is what we've been seeing. The developments of very standard things is amazing in StarCraft. You think you got things locked down. You think you know what pros do. And then they find a way to be even better at this game. So one of those ways is to get a very quick follow-up scout with the first 2 Hellions and then keep the next 2 Hellions at home against any Ling run-bys. As there was a period of time where we were keeping both our first Hellions at home and then going for a scout. Not so much anymore. You always see those first 2 Hellions be aggressive. Speaking of aggressive, we do have a Roach Warren in the back. Lots of gas is taken. Dark. If he didn't make drones, I guess I could just be like, oh, maybe he's being really paranoid against a Hellbat attack. But no, he is going for an attack. We thought Maru was going to be the aggressive one. We were wrong. Now, note that Dark's attack will not work out very well against Banshees if it's just pure Roach. So we should see that Link follow up. He figures is going to be a Banshee. He has actually not technically scouted it. A Marine was made and is patrolling, but as I said, it's a very easy map to get the scout on, so like you just jump right here, and you would know. But yeah, the Lings are what really makes this quite complicated. I can't believe that Dark let a Hellion see the Ravager. I guess he is going to go drone behind this. Because Maru should be taking this Ravager sighting very seriously. In fact, he kills it with the Hellions. Another one bites the dust. Good control here. Dark is going to be a little frustrated by that. It was kind of a fake roach push, but it still was very real Ravagers that you very much so invested minerals and gas into. So Maru just shuts it down right then and there, and Dark does make a mistake. Not just losing the Ravagers and, you know, letting that be scouted, but also making roaches he didn't really need. He should have a stronger economy and a bit faster of a lair if he was going to go pure macro. So Maru takes a bit of a victory there. Very tiny one. Command center is going to finish up. Bio behind this. Tank pretty quick coming out. Very safe as well against if it really was a legitimate roach push. Double Banshee's now able to do their harassments. Whatever they can find. Maybe a queen here, queen there, drone. A couple Lings. Maybe a couple Ravagers. Dark were to go into Roach Ravager. That's why he's not added on the evolution chambers. Not add on a Baneling nest. What is he gonna go for? Oh, that one Banshee getting really low. This Banshee still staying alive. Player's finally down. Overseer's on the way, and this Banshee is still being shooed away by the single Spore Crawler. So up, okay. Not much more to do there. How many extra queens does Dark have? Just really 2. So not a ton of creep spread. Roach speed has been started. I guess he's eventually gonna go for a big roach attack. So we should eventually, very shortly, see double evolution chamber. Overseer gets in the main base and sees not just that it's bio, but the exact timing of the barracks, the exact timing of the medevacs popping out, and also can scout how many tanks you would already expect to see. If there's a maybe double tank push already on the way, that could have revealed it, but there's not. There's just a double drop of Marines. Banshee being healed up as he is facing roaches. A single Banshee, believe it or not, 2 Banshees too. Especially 2 Banshees can be very helpful against roach pushes later on. He does add on the double evolution chambers, but also adds on a Baneling nest. So Dark going back to one of his very familiar compositions, Roach Baneling. These drops do not do so well. Oh my god. Not doing well at all. Dark repositions his Spore Crawlers to stop any drops. He knows how Maru likes to play. His 4th base is a little bit vulnerable to the Banshee, but it's so healthy that one Banshee probably wouldn't be able to get a cancel. And Maru is just trying to take what he can get with these drops, which isn't very much, even still. Even still. One's already done for Maru. Combat shield's about finished up. He's getting, what is it, this 3rd tank here? Yeah, his 3rd tank. He hasn't seen the Baneling nest. He hasn't seen... Oh, he did. He went to the 3rd base with the Banshee, which is weirdly enough where the tech was. Not what you'd usually expect it. You don't have an amazing creep spread. The 4th base is right over here. These tech structures could be a target of tanks if the push goes really, really well for Maru. He's a little bit bold. Maru's pushing forward. He's got AI working against him. Oof. Ouch. Oh, that tank goes down pretty quickly. The Ravagers are prepared. The roach numbers are solid enough. He is still waiting on some typical hooks and his own upgrades, but it's not really about this composition. He is going to go quickly into a hive. It's an 830 hive right there. And since he is going into the melee upgrades, he would have some pretty well upgraded ultras. Maru going to the severe late game, already adding on not just a 4th base, but also a 5th. Now the 2nd factory is also finishing up. Just going into some drop play to support his economic potential. Spore Crawlers are scanned, but they're a little back. This is a doom drop. This isn't just a double or triple drop. This includes the tanks. I'm usually not a fan of this, but there really aren't a ton of Banelings, so in this scenario, I'm actually okay. I'm not a fan because it puts you onto creep, which just seems very unideal, but in this case, Maru doesn't even try to set up here, but he takes damage from the Corrosive Biles. He's not so much focusing over here, so he's getting damage down or up here. Banelings roll in, take out most of the army, but oh my god, this went super poorly. I'm surprised that Maru didn't evacuate much faster. When I saw the tank stay unsieged, I figured he was gonna, you know, run away. And then he just stayed around, got caught in some Corrosive Biles, and lost a few too many medevacs. They're actually pretty happy with how that went, especially because his hive is now done. But Maru can't be too sad about how that went, even though it was overall worse for him, because he is planning to more of that late game. As long as he can hold whatever follow-up push that Dark has right here, right now, we can probably start adding on units to defend against Ultras, if that even is where Dark wants to go. Said Ultras with the melee upgrades, but nope, it's going to be Vipers first, and okay, then an Ultralisk Cavern. Those are changelings, so that scared me. Spore Crawler is going to be taken out. Both Spore Crawlers taken out, so the main base could be a drop zone later on. Good. Queen Focus Fire doesn't quite grab that medevac. Oh, lordy. 6 health. They're dropped to the top side along with some units looking for... I think they were just AI'd incorrectly. They were chasing the medevacs. But Maru has double expand without Dark's knowledge. I mean, with Dark's style, you're not really going to get on the other side of the map too often. Ooh, that lag though. But it's, you know, especially important here is he doesn't scout this base or this base. And we also have double starport on the way, double planetary, 2-2 finishing up long, way far ahead of Dark's upgrades. That's something at least Maru should be confident in. And defensively, even if Dark gets to this really nice composition with Vipers, Blinding Clouds, Parasitic Bombs, whatever, with Ultras, with their speed and Cabrous upgrade, even if he gets there, defensively, Maru should feel okay. It's when the Zerg player can also remax quickly on whatever they want that you start to really have to have those really fine-tuned compositions. Enough Liberators, enough Siege Tanks, Center Towers probably as well. And we're not quite there yet. Dark is starting to bank a little with his 5 bases, but not a ton. It's also not up to Ultras as he just starts now with a chitinous plating. His Vipers were used to just get a single Banshee so far. Not too impressive. Only 1 Fester left over, too, so the Fungals wouldn't be that beautiful. Even if they were here, but they're not. Dark takes the fight, but he has so... There's not a lot of creeps to work with. Maru scanned once on the bottom side of the map and did up 2 creep tumors, and that was it. Dark just didn't have a Queens in the front line spreading it that much, so he just gets obliterated in that match. Attacks up to the top side are going to be dealt with by Marauders and Liberators combination. Hatchery is easily taken out, but it might be a worthwhile sacrifice if Dark can just live on for a little while longer, and he is. Eventually, he'll also start giving away these Ravagers in exchange for some better units. He's trying to get to Ultras now, but we also have some drones in the mix. You've been conscripted. Oh, this does not look very pretty. This does not look pretty at all, but Dark still keeping up that supply. 80 workers. He's triple expanding while he's being attacked. Maru comfortable on 5 bases, although getting a 6th. He's also getting a Fusion Core, a Ghost Academy. His 3-3 did start later than it could have, so they're both evened up on the upgrades. But not only do these Corrosive Biles have to take out tanks, they also have to take out Vipers or, darn it, Liberators if the Vipers can't. There's a lot of different options here for both players, I guess, to try and push forward. Spreading himself a little thin here. He's got a lot of tanks and Liberators to the bottom side, which, the Liberators still helping, but tanks not so much. He's got a pretty nice Marauder count, but still upping that. He's also getting into Liberator range. Make these fights a little bit easier to set up. He's keeping on the pressure, but Dark is holding onto the pressure. Just making some good decisions, taking okay fights, keeping his Ravagers alive so he doesn't have to replace those. And also with a decent army. With those Ultras, although as I say it, both Ultras go down. His economy still is pretty good though as he retook the middle base and he's still on 80 workers. He was setting up a bit of a run by but decides not to. Main fight goes down. Ultra gets busted really quickly. Baneling's at some okay connections, but so many things are left over here. So much bio is left over. A lot of the lane Baneling has been taken out, but some from the backside, that's where the tank Focus Fire would come in, but he's going to have to retreat. So many Lings came forward here. They do have 2-2 and Adrenal Glands. Parasitic Bomb tries to catch us with the Medevacs. Doesn't quite do so. But still, Maru has been pushed back. Now he's down a little bit in our army supply. Defensively, again, I think he's okay. But that was momentum that I probably thought he would do a lot more with. You got to kill on this base. You got to cancel on this base. But Dark still has 6 bases with this one set up. And Maru is, well, matching his economy. He didn't take maybe the best fights he was expecting. Resources lost only slightly in favor of Maru. And at this point, well, from here on out, I should say. From here on out, you're really going to want to take better fights than that. You're going to really start to see those resources lost in the thousands difference, not just 1,000 difference. So that's when you start to feel a little more confident for the Terran player. But Dark gets to talk about things that I'm worried about for him. I was worried in some of those fights. He dealt with it okay, fine. Alright. And now I'm a little worried about his lack of aggression on Maru's side of the map. Maru is getting away with tons of bases, without sentry towers, without building armor. And Dark is not going to be the only one in this game banking a lot of cash. All their upgrades have finished up. We even have +2 vehicle weapons. There we go. Not ship weapons. Big concave of Zerg coming forward here. He scanned it. He knew it was on the way, so he's trying to siege up, but his Liberator's a little late to the party. Also, his bio not actually moving that far away from the Banelings, but it was such a chunky bio. Mostly Marauders here. Yeah, maybe that resource loss wasn't so bad. It wasn't. Parasitic bombs did injure a lot of the air units. We're a little low on medevacs. Not yet a worry. Another fight going down as Dark is remaxed very quickly, but so many Liberators, so many tanks. Crocophiles do try and take out, I think that was 2 Liberators, but 2 of them still alive. Very low health. Vipers have been killed at this point. No, they're back somewhere sucking up energy, but they're not here on the front lines. These Liberator circles are getting really scary. So the 7 Liberators are using 4 at a time. Trying to focus fire down these Ultras too, and the Lings are lacking. Here come the Vipers once again for the abducts, perhaps. That's exactly what they do, they abduct. Crocophiles hit some of the other Liberators. Tanks are finally cleaned up here, and while this little bit of a Bioforce could maybe take down these Ultras, they do in fact do so. Maru is not left over with a ton. He's not going to abandon ship, though. He's going to continue the fight. I don't know about this. This is the type of army that really suits you poorly against Ling Floods. That's exactly what Dark's trying to reinforce with, but Maru, if he could just hold up a little bit, if he could get a bigger bio ball on the ground to support these ghosts, support these Liberators, I think he'd have a very good position, and that's what he's hoping for as well. Dark can't quite break him. A Spore Crawler is pushed offensively on top of a Liberator, but then taken out by a tank. Dark is getting a lot of Corruptors now. His Vipers are still around, looking for more abducts. But not actually killing the Liberators that quickly. Maru up to 6 still, even after all those engagements. Armor supply in his favor as well. And it's like, he's got so many things going on in his favor, so he can draw the army back through the tank shots, through the Liberator shots, up a ramp, into a choke. These Lings are getting some pretty good trades here. Also coming from the top side. Corruptors finally out and about to actually clean up a lot of these very low Liberators. That fight did not go so poorly, but it was still poorer for Dark, who dips down in supply a little bit, lost that base, lost just a couple of drones. He has this one back up though, and Maru has stopped his drops entirely, looking for the main pushes. Dark is going to find it very difficult to continue to break this position, especially if Maru gets the stack defense up. This is where it's against the Vipers, against the Corruptors, going to be very helpful. And Maru has a couple extra orbital commands. He can go ahead and take the bottom 2 bases without Dark's knowledge. Again, Dark not with a ton of harassment or run-bys. Has really complicated the game a ton. It's been mostly him defending. Yeah, he's taking okay fights, sure, but imagine if there was like a 20-30 Ling run-by into the natural right now. This would really mess up Maru's tempo. And now he's got Liberators again, tanks, missile turrets. His bio is up in numbers too. He's even got some Vikings here to help take down some of the air, especially those Vipers. I actually don't really know how you break this. I think you just circumvent it and force them to ball up again. If they're split up like this seems impossible for the Zerg to take. Maru's going to have to retreat back into his tank line. There we go. Some of them unsieged. The Blinding Cloud goes down to force the bio even further back. Liberators were sieged up in the wrong position, as Maru was not expecting Dark's army to come from the top side, and that might have been the biggest mistake. And maybe it's totally fine. Liberator's still alive. Tank's still alive. Corruptors are going to do their job until they meet the missile turrets, which are still alive and running. And that ends up being kind of an even trade, barely saving that tank. The ghosts are still alive here. He never really got to that many, but he hasn't lost that many either. Look how many, oh man, look how many mechanical units he's lost here. 23 tanks, 22 Liberators, are you kidding me? It's such an expensive army to lose, but ditto for Dark, who's also kind of ultras. Oh boy. Maru, I think he's starting to get the advantage in this series. There's never really been amazing creep spread, but even less so. Dark has been replacing bases at a pretty nice tempo, but now is struggling, as that is 300 minerals immediately into a hatchery. It's not like he has a bank to just slap them down left, right, and center. Meanwhile, Maru does take that bottom base, not with an orbital, but rather with a regular command center for a planetary. Still hasn't really had to bother with Ling run by, so no reason to go into high-sec auto-tracking or building armor. Although, I would say high-sec auto-tracking would be nice for the missile turrets in the front lines, but that's my only critique. Finally, a big Ling run by. The wall was broken down quite some time ago, but this little section is not really that important anymore for Maru. I don't think he really needs a second factory. Command center could be lifted. It does draw the army back, though, and that's more what I was talking about. Forcing Maru to at least look away from the army fight for a second. Maybe the Corruptors can get some freebie liberators, but these aren't really freebies. He is paying attention to the army. He's trying to get some snipes down. And while this looks like only a portion of the Maru's army, and it definitely is, you can see Dark is so hesitant to actually push into it. Oh, he doesn't have an Overseer. These Ghost Cloak deal a ton of damage. Bam, there goes the Ultra, and Dark is struggling to get above 150 supply. Never really got to that very, very, very big bank, and Maru just kept on expanding, kept on pushing, non-stop pushes. Every time Dark almost cleaned up the entire army, there was just barely enough left over. Not often how you see this match go down. GG. Maru takes game number 1 against Dark. And if this was the first match of the day, you'd be like, oh yeah, Maru's amazing. But it's the last match, and this doesn't really matter that much. As I said towards the end there, not usually the style you see from the Terran player. At some point, they are officially broken. They're forced to retreat, kind of rebuild, and that's when the Zerg player explodes, a creep spread, explodes with hatcheries. But Dark was playing a bit of a slower style, just default with his Roach Opener, with his Ravagers being a big portion of his army, even though he was upgrading his Lings. And he never really truly forced Maru back home. Even at times where I would say that any other Terran would have retreated. Maru stayed on that high ground position and abused it. Hello. It is incredibly possible, and even likely, that Dark was a little thrown off by Maru's lack of aggression. He was probably anticipating a push or a second drop every time there was one drop, and instead it was not drops, it was just Maru expanding. So Dark might have to mix things up. It did start off a little awkward for our Zerg player too, don't forget. He went for a Roach push, kind of fake idea, right? He wanted... Best case scenario, he gets across the map and does damage to the supply depots or stalls out the 3rd CC. And then worst case scenario is kind of what happened, where Maru caught his Ravagers, caught his Roaches with the Banshee, and Dark was like, oh, I made these awkward Roaches that aren't doing anything now. So it's already an awkward start for this guy. And then on top of that, Maru played a different style. See if he can recover. He's already feeling pretty happy with his results in the group, but it would still be nice to end with a little cherry on top. Take out everyone you meet. Can he actually do it? We're on Kairos Junction, the bottom right. As the blue Zerg, it is Dark. In the top left is the red Terran. He is Maru. If you guys missed it, spawning pulling gas first. If you guys missed it in the first game, first minute, I talked about how they were being a little funny with each other. Dark basically insinuating that Maru would 2-rax him or 3-rax him, and Maru insinuating that Banelings were pretty overpowered. That's what I read from it anyways, but it was a lot of emotes. Kinda late to wake up. Yeah. Maybe someone should have given Maru that energy drink a little bit sooner. So, not just a pool first for some funny little lane play, but also a gas. Gonna have much faster speed follow-up than Maru might be anticipating. His Reaper will not be going across the map if all things go according to plan for Dark. His 2 Lings bring the Reaper home, and then potentially a big Ling swell after to catch the 2 Hellions. And if he does do the Ling swell after, if he doesn't change his mind or anything, and he gets the 2 Hellions, believe it or not, games have been lost in this fashion. I'm not saying it'll happen here, it's still pretty rare, but it is a, I suppose, possibility. These 2 Lings are it for now. Speed will be done at a faster time, but not like incredibly fast, not like it's done right now. This Reaper is not going to be pulled back by the 2 Lings because the Lings aren't going to the natural. I wonder why. There's nothing to really tell him that they aren't supposed to. If he had just gone for a pull first, I'd be like, oh yeah, anti-T-Rex defense. But it's not all he did. He went for the speed too. Now the 2 Lings go in? No? No, yes. I don't know how many times I've set up this hype game for potential Ling swell, and then the Zerg player just says, actually no, I don't want to. Takes the 3rd base, continuing to drone, and that's, okay, into the macro game. He's looking for the Hellions. He sees them, and darts back out. If there were 12, 14, 16 Lings, these 2 Hellions die. Oof. Could have been something. But it's nothing. It's just defensive against the regular Hellion timing. Marine's going to shoo away this Overlord, who did dive a little deeper than last game. Saw the starport building the tech lab this time. No tech lab yet on the barracks. But Maru does usually go bio. Okay, tech lab with the barracks. Lair is already on the way. Around like 340. 35. It's a little early. Hellions are getting surrounded by the Lings. They dive towards that natural base, potentially seeing an opportunity, but there really wasn't one. They're gonna get the Lings, I guess, in a trade, but no drones went down. And, well, that is a scout. That's a decent scout right there. It's a little bit faster Lair. I mean, could have been something a little scary, but I don't see anything else saying that it is. It is going to provide the earlier Overseers to deal with the Banshees really, really super easy. And he's getting at least 1 more Queen here to give him a total of 2 extra, and then whatever one is in the main, natural, or 3rd. There comes the first Spore Crawler finally, and 3rd to see for Maru. He is adding on that stim, as expected. Only a couple more Hellions were produced, as he needs some type of defense against any Ling swell. Even, you know, 14 Lings. I guess if you didn't have a Marine. If 14 Lings appear in your natural and you were kind of silly about your Hellion production and you didn't have any Marines, that CC can be cancelled. It's a terrible feeling. These 2 Hellions gonna just scout a little bit, see not much. Banshee decides not to just run right into that main base. Gonna hold out a little bit longer, perhaps until the 4th comes down. He gets 2 Banshees on top of a building 4th. It's a very quick and easy cancel. Dark's not gonna play around with roaches this game. Just going right into centrifugal hooks. If there was a very quick tank push, then he would be pretty well defended against it, but there's not. Not really the quickest tank follow-up that you can see, although there is an abusive spot on Kairos Junction for such tank pushes. We're going to be talking more about the 4th base defense than we are about the 3rd. And the 4th base is going to be taken vertical. It seems to be the trend among Zerg players. Keeping tabs on the creep spread, which is already better than last game. 4th base was on at this 4th. If Maru was hoping for it, too bad. If he was just holding up for the 2 Banshees to hit the main base, well, too bad. Spore Crawlers moved to the left side. And they're going to kind of circumvent it a little bit. Its detection range is longer than its, actual attack range. So it works out to some degree. 2 Banshees go for drones, maybe a Queen here. Transfuse. And that Overseer was in plenty of time to defend against this. He just needs to add the creep spread, which he notices as well. And the 2 Banshees live. So 5 drones, and they live. That's fine. That's a couple of creep tumors as well. Sure. More than a couple. 3rd CC being planted down. Something the Overlord is going to see. Overseer. My bad. 4th base is almost set up here. 64 workers of 55. And it is going to be the Hydralisk follow-up. No Spire play here from Dark today. Here comes the first attack. It is with 2 tanks. Not the fast one I was thinking of. Who was doing that attack? I'm thinking of Monday and Tuesday. Someone was. Or actually, you know what? It was Innovation in Lima League. My bad. He's doing like these really, really quick 2 tank pushes on top of thirds even, because the creep spread wasn't that far out. But this one's on the 4th. As I said, not a lot of creep spread there. Marine's going to go off of creep, and this is where he should take some pretty damn decent trades. Baneling's trying to chase after, but the tank on this high ground, on this portion of the map, is so abusive. I was talking about this one, but let's talk about this ridge for a little second. That is brutal. Dark doesn't also have his queens in the front lines to even help out, even if they could. Banshee's coming to the front lines to help out, and Maru has a very quick rally from his natural base to this attack. 4th base gets taken out. Not only did Dark give up that 4th base, but he also lost a decent amount of lings and banelings in that trade. So you can see here in the resources lost, heavily in favor of Maru. Really nice attack there. Dark a little underprepared, despite having circle hope, just simply have enough units. And didn't quite see that attack incoming. Creep spread to the top side of the 3rd is going to be okay, but perhaps... Oh, this is interesting. I don't usually see the attack coming from this portion, this choke, but it is still a choke to abuse. You can run back into your tank so they can't catch you off guard, and this is potentially a game-ending push. In fact, I think it is. Dark have to be coming through the top side as well to really catch Maru off guard. Although, his Ling's doing some decent damage, getting a lot of SCVs, but can Dark hold on? His Hydra's 10 goes down. He only got the 1 upgrade, so he's missing speed on the Hydras. 18 SCVs go down, 19 SCVs go down. That was a very good run by. Even gets away with some of the Lings too, and forces Maru to retreat. I guess he was getting a little scared of how many Hydras were being morphed in here, but it's a mostly Hydra army, which really isn't that scary to Terran players. It's the Lings surrounding your army and the Banelings colliding with it that's usually the scariest part, especially on creep spread. The Hydras usually can evaluate a lot easier. Say, okay, my bio beats those Hydras, let's go for it. Another Ling counterattack set up here as Dark takes his other 4th base, so he's double expanding 4th and 5th. Double drop to the top side. I was hoping to find Dark out of position. It doesn't now, but it lives, so it could later on. Oh, there's not even a wall here. Couldn't even lift the depots if you wanted to. But there are reinforcements, so that's not going to work out so well. Not nearly as well. 2-2 is on the way. Ooh, Maru notably late to that +2 armor, but at least his attack has started. And that hatchery is probably going to go down again. It is barely not. Yeah, it's going to go down. Well, tap from the Marine. Scan on the 5th base. Sees that it's just now morphing, and Maru should be feeling pretty confident. Also catches the Baneling run-by attempt. Really nicely done here. Even splitting against them to the maximum value. And I still feel good for Maru, but here we have an attack. No, it's off of creep. Dark doesn't want to take that. Unless his Lings that are really baller surround. And even then, it'd be a little dangerous. Only at 7 Banelings. All those Lings were sighted. I thought they were seen. Well, now they are. And again, no wall off. This tank's gonna get 1 shot before it dies, probably. Maybe 2. It's helping. You're helping. The Ling's into the natural base, and Maru was forced to retreat with a big portion of his army. He is still attacking on that 3rd base, though. Something he was unable to kill the last time he attacked in here. But he's abusing that same position. Tanks behind the ledge. The Banelings go down. Nothing but Hydras left over. This is where Maru should be feeling very confident. Even though he's lost 22 SCVs, he's about to lose more at the 3rd base. Maybe a few more at least. He's going to take out the 3rd, and Dark is down to still 3 base mining, but not... That's still not great. Double upgrades could also be sniped. It looks like +2 melee will finish up, and I guess +2 Carapace as well, since Maru's not targeting them. He's going after Overlords, going after Creep. He's going after the other would-be 5th base. 4th base, that's hard to keep count when you start losing base after base after base. How many hatcheries is Dark built? Like 7, 8 now? Woo, a bit of a slugfest. Maru still keeping solid on his SCV count despite all those losses, though, just continually pumping out 3 at a time, never losing his command centers. His army gets partially broken, but here come the reinforcements. 8 SCVs go down, so I believe that was a Baneling run by, but again, Maru is still at 50, he is totally capable of reinforcing. Tank count still okay as well. He's at 4 right now, though they're not all part of the plan. Part of the attack. He cleans up the Banelings. Nothing about Hydras left over, and these are weak Hydras too. Upgrades have finally finished for Maru since he was so late to that +2 armor. It's going to finish here for the final battle. GG. Maru takes a 2-0 over Dark, yet still comes out in 2nd to last place, and Dark still advances on in 1st. Right? Looks like Neeb won over Lenok 2-0. Lambo won over Trap 2-0. And we do have our final results. Dark first, Trap second, Neeb third. Not as much of an upset as I was thinking it might be. But I did have Maru in the top 3, not Trap. And that is still pretty surprising.